Welcome to the Illicit Feminine podcast. I am Elizabeth. I'm your host. And I'm taking a little bit of a detour. And due to just some circumstances, felt called to switch it up. So this month in September, right, it's the first day of fall today. We had the equinox. So happy fall. I love this time of year. I live in the Midwest. And so the leaves are starting to change and things are just, they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. So I hope that you are embracing the newness of the season. The, depending on where you live, it can be different, but the slowing down a little bit of the summertime busyness. However, I understand people are so busy year round all the time, but I would invite you to really lean into the season, really lean into it getting darker in the evening, to how can you slow down a little bit for yourself and create a little bit more comfort, a little bit more beauty, a little bit more time just to be with yourself this autumn season. On that note, I just got back this weekend from an amazing 8, 9 days in Florida. It started out with a retreat in Miami. I did a couples retreat, couples intensive, and it was really around a couple that I've been working with and the question of whether they want to stay and create a different dynamic within their marriage or whether they are ready to complete the relationship in a marital sense and forge a new relationship with each other in more of a friendship way. And the beauty of this work is that each person gets to create what is right for them, that there is necessarily, I don't believe, a correct way to do a relationship. There's not just one way to do a relationship. As long as the people that are involved in the partnership are both conscious and intentional about what they are wanting to create, that it can look whatever way you want it to look. And really honing in on that, understanding that to the outside world, that might look different, that might look fucked up, that might look like you're doing it wrong. It's funny, I'm an observer and I love to observe like the different ways that people do things. So relationships are obviously one of those things, that and self-love, right? Like the relationship you have with yourself, which is always with God, and then the relationship that we have with others. And I observe myself too, right? Like this isn't just like an external thing, this is like an internal thing as well. And what I observe, and it's not that I wasn't here at one point, because I was prefacing this, people have a lot of judgments on the way that other people do their life, that they do their relationships. And it's very interesting. That is going to be another podcast. So, what I want to say, and I talked about a little bit about it last week, but what I want to say on that is that the outside voices don't matter. They really don't. You can take them in for guidance or opinions if that feels good to you. It's not about that. It's about you and yourself and you and your partner and taking in your values within that. So that can be social values, religious values, cultural values, but it's about you and your partner deciding. Let the outside voices go. And really, that was some of the beautiful work that was done this weekend with this couple I was working with, is that they were just so intentional with each other. And it really, the work is always about how are you showing up for yourself? How are you loving yourself? What is the relationship that you have with you? What is the relationship that you have with the divine? Because that's the foundation of it all, right? Like when we understand that we are divine creations, like we are a part of God, we are a part of the universe, we are a part of this universal love that is so ginormous, we can't even fathom it. That's why it's such a cliche, right? Then that allows us to love, like love, be so madly in love with ourselves. And that can never be selfish. Love can never be selfish. So that's what this podcast is about today. And these people really exemplified it so beautifully that I got to work with this weekend. It was really about them listening to themselves, them showing up for themselves, them loving themselves so much. That was the catalyst for how are they going to do relationship with each other. And that's where we're going to talk about today. I have 4 points of like really self-love I get asked like, what do you do? And I don't like the word coach, but I essentially, that's like the best description of what I do, right? But like I'm a self-love coach. Like I help people learn how to love themselves so that they can show up for the life that they want. They can show up for the relationships that they want. They can create everything that they want, but it starts with love. I've been going back and forth a lot with I'm doing this certification in business energetics and just energetics as a whole, right? It's my love, it's my passion, it's everything. And it, at the heart of it, a lot of it is around money, which is understandable. Money in our culture and our time is the exchange of how we achieve a lot of our desires. And the basis of that, really, like when you really look at it, is money is just a channel to get people to feel the way they want to feel, right? It's not actually a thing. I give you this cash, you get a feeling from it. It's not actually the piece of paper that you are jamming with. You're not vibing with the piece of paper, you're vibing with the feeling around it. And that's the same with everything. So you can say you desire something tangible or even intangible, like health, purpose, love, relationship, wealth. But really, it's all about the feeling that you want to feel because you think that thing is going to give it to you. And that's always love. It's always peace, calm, joy. And the heart of that, the foundation of that is love. And it is cliche, right? Like love makes the world go round. God, I wish that were true. I mean, it is true in a level, but if actually people understood how to love each other, like how to love themselves first, everything would be different. Okay, going back to my track, I'm getting off on a tangent. So today I'm going to talk about 4 steps that I think are really key. They are not the only steps, they're just the 4 I felt called to share today about self-love. For this particular podcast is really encompassing, are you listening to yourself? What is your relationship with yourself, with the part of you? All of you is divine. You are only a divine creation. You are only created in universal love, in this energy that creates planets, universes, oceans, sky, sun, like everything. That is what you are a piece of. So when you see yourself in that way, that is when everything can change for you. So truly listening to yourself, like truly showing up for yourself, truly cultivating a relationship with you, with your inner being, with your soul, with your heart. So we also have to understand that we have a ego mind, right? You can call it your human mind, you can call it your limited mind. It's this mind that is limited, it's finite. It can only see here. It's not your imagination, it's not the possibilities, it's the negativity, it's all the reasons it won't work. It's your fears, it's your beliefs, it's your negativity, it's like all of that. And listen, it has a place. It is there for a reason. It is contrast for us to understand the other side of it. There's only oneness, there's only source, there's only God. So that means like our ego minds, our wounded minds, whatever you want to call it, our smaller minds, it's not to be like shamed or blamed. We get to be in observance of it, acknowledge it, send love to it. These are practices down the line, but we need to be aware of the differentiation. Okay. So when we're really getting to know that part of us that is like the higher version of us, that is our soul, that is the deeper part of us, the place where God speaks to us, that inner presence, that light, whatever you want to call it, that is the part that I'm talking about. And the first thing to really developing self-love, to falling madly and passionately in love with yourself and listening to yourself is the same thing that you do when you go and start a relationship. You need to create time and you need to create space. And then in this way, for self-love, you need to be in solitude, right? When you are developing a relationship with somebody else, you need time just with them. You need space just with them. You need to learn about them. You find out about them. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What's their past like? What do they want for their future? We do this with other people, and yet so many people have never done this with themselves. They're living completely unconscious. They're living on autopilot. They don't even know who they are. And this is not a judgment. I was this person. Okay. So The number one thing when we are learning how to love ourselves on the journey of deep self-love, deep relationship with ourselves is creating the time, the space, and the solitude for you to have this. The second, really checking in with yourself. Should absolutely be daily. And I know shoulds aren't great, but if we're really striving and creating a deep relationship with ourselves, we have tools that need to be utilized in order to get there. So really checking in, what am I feeling? What am I needing? What am I desiring? When we're understanding that there's different parts of ourselves, which again, we've talked about before, we have our little person, our little inner child, we have our victim, we have our thinking mind, and we have our prostitutes who just wants to give away. We want to give away ourselves to feel validated. We want to give away ourselves to feel loved and like we'll do anything for it. Our victim is always things are happening to me. Like it's poor me. There's always a problem. There's always something wrong. The victim only sees not in their power. Like it's everybody else's fault and not accepting responsibility and seeing they can't change their circumstances. And then we have the inner child, which is a lot of our fears, like a lot of our wounds, a lot of the things that happen. So when we can recognize these four parts, there's so many more archetypes, those like four kind of archetypes, we get to listen to them. What are they trying to tell us? So many times we want to shut out the parts of ourselves that we don't want to hear. We've talked about this when we're talking about shadow work. We want to shut out our shadow. Our shadow is there because it has things to tell us. So listening to these parts of ourselves is really important. Getting to know these parts of ourselves is really important because they're telling us when we know what we feel, we can know what we need. If we feel really unsafe, then we need to like bring ourselves safety. And that can just be through breath. We need to regulate our nervous system and knowing the tools to use to get yourself out of your, how would I say, the shadowed archetypes is really listening to yourself. That's one of the main things that you start with, writing down what that part of you is thinking. What are the thoughts and beliefs that are coming up around that part of you? What is that part of you needing? Do they need more of your time? Do they need more rest? Do they need more fun? You can separate this into internal family systems or different things like that, but it's really just listening to yourself at the basis of trying to uncomplicate everything. It's really listening to your inner self. It's turning inward. Okay, 3. This is a huge one. Self-talk. I invite you to become really aware of the things that you say, and that might be inside your head. Most of the times it's inside our heads to yourself. I think I've shared this story. There's a favorite local boutique that I go to in town, and I will often be out in the shopping area and I will hear the women in the dressing rooms, and the way they speak to themselves is heartbreaking. The way they look at their bodies and they criticize themselves, the way they look at the clothes on their bodies and criticize themselves. Women so much with their self-talk, and it doesn't even have to be external, right? It can be like, oh, God, I'm always late. Watch out for your I ams. Like, what are you claiming as I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm skinny, I'm a mess. I hear people say, oh my God, I'm a hot mess. Stop. Like, really hone in on being aware of what you were thinking about yourself and what you were saying to yourself. You are a divine creation. You are love. You may not get that and you may not feel that yet, but that doesn't make it any less true. When we are continually like bashing ourselves and blaming ourselves and shaming ourselves, again, been there. I'm not talking about this because like I have perfected it, and I'm not talking about this as something I don't know. I lived this. Okay. It does nothing. It will never get you where you want to be. Guilt will never get you where you want to be. Shame will never get you where you want to be. Self-hatred will never get you where you want to be. Okay. And that's also, you can understand when you're judging others, when you're being really critical of others, when you're like looking at others instead of looking at yourself. That's when you can know there's a huge disconnect, right? It's just a reflection. Our relationship with others is a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. So how we shift that isn't about treating others differently. I mean, it is, but it starts with treating ourselves differently. It starts with actually loving ourselves. It starts with taking time, like sit down. If you need to sit down because you're tired, sit the fuck down. You're not going to get rewarded for being exhausted and a bitch. Nobody's going to reward you for that. You get to love yourself, because if you are wanting other people to love you, if you are wanting other people to see you, if you are wanting other people to make you a priority, you have to do that for yourself. Love is not just this beautiful, airy, fairy, flowery thing. Love is a powerful force. Love will change everything. But it starts with us. It starts with us learning how to love ourselves. And that starts with how we are thinking about ourselves, how we are speaking about ourselves, how we are seeing ourselves. So really do some reflections on that. And the fourth piece, really anchoring into your sovereignty. So what does that mean? So your sovereignty is your own guidance, your own inner wisdom, your own inner being, your own connection with the divine, with source, with the universe. That is your sovereignty. No one, no other human person is sovereign over you. There is not anyone out there who knows more about you than you. There is nobody out there who knows more about your relationship with God than you. It just doesn't exist. That's not how we were created. We were created to have this own divine relationship with the divine. And then for that to be our inner wisdom, our inner guidance, our inner navigational star. And when we stop looking inward and we're looking externally, we're looking outside of ourselves for other people to validate us, for other people to make us feel good, for other people to approve of what we're doing, it fucks with our minds, it fucks with our hearts, and like we get scattered and torn. Again, I speak of that which I know. Really honing in on our own sovereignty. And for me personally, it starts with meditation, it starts with prayer, it starts with quiet time. All of those things in my morning routine are non-negotiables, non-negotiables. And then throughout the day, every hour, being aware of the presence of the love, of the flow that is within me. And I get off track. I got off track this weekend. I got really off track. I can be away and feel like so in the flow and so in this love and creative power and energy. And then I can kind of come back to my my life. There's a part of me that can just run it on autopilot, right? When I'm traveling, when I'm away, when I'm in a new environment, I really am so dependent on God for leading me in every single thing because it's all new. But when I come back to my everyday life, there's a part of me that lives that way. It is really intentional for me to be conscious of stepping into that part of me, right? Like, God, you've got this. I'm going to live in wonder all day, and I'm going to live in flow, and I'm going to be in ease, and I'm going to know that you are handling everything, and you're going to show me my part. And there's a part of me that steps into the autopilot, that steps into the, I got this, because it's like muscle memory. It's like driving a car. Like, I don't need you. And that's when it trips me up. It's when I also can start listening to the outside voices. I can put other people's thoughts and what they're saying and their stories about my life. I can make those seem more true than they are. I can make their truth seem more real than my own truth. I can make their thoughts or their opinions seem more true than what I know. And that's the contrast. It's still God in that. God's leading me back to like my own sovereignty. So being in our own sovereignty, making ourselves our go-to, our sovereign selves. So I'm not talking about the ego self. Always be aware of that. Like when I'm talking about our self, I'm talking about like our soul, our part that is in such deep connection with the divine and listening to our own inner wisdom. I'm reading The I Ams by Saint Germain, and it's such this beautiful book. And it talks about the I am presence. And the I am presence is love, wisdom, power, and abundance. And when I'm living in that sovereignty, when I am living in that space of complete and utter love, power, wisdom, and abundance, there is nothing like it. It is such a high, it is such a flow and ease. And that is the place that I want to be all the time. That is love. That is the essence of what self-love is. And self-love is the essence of being so loved by the divine and receiving that and giving that to ourselves. And then from there, that's where we create our relationships. From there, that's where we create everything. Okay. So I hope that's been helpful today. I am offering a few different ways to work with me. For a short time, I'm going to be offering my general 12-week sessions, and that's one-on-ones. And then I'm really stepping into these weekend intensives in beautiful places. It's more of a luxury offering, and I'm loving it. So please reach out to me. My information is in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Sacred for Freedom for Her. You can email me. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing what it's like to work with me. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Next week will be our interview on a woman who was practicing celibacy for a year. So we'll wrap September up in that. And then October is all about breasts. So we'll do some on breast cancer, but I also want to really just own the power of women's breasts in general and all that they involve. Okay, have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.